in Sync 366 video series. It is, what is today? Monday? All day long. December 9th, 2024. And this is the Being in Sync 366 video series. Today, I wanted to talk about a life hack on how to view stressful situations with a renewed perspective. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're just going to wait about 5 minutes here and see who joins us in this live chat. My name is Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace through a process called energy psychology. That's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment, all to help repattern your field so you are more in alignment with the natural laws. The natural laws are principles in which all energy runs. All energy runs, hello, South African boys. Energy runs in patterns. And if those patterns are incongruent in any way, it will change how we know ourselves, how we perceive reality. And so it's really important to be able to adjust. So we shall see who joins us, South African boys. And I was going to do another session on fear, but I decided to do this one. It seems most relevant. I will say a lot of people seem to be coming a little bit unhinged. So I thought I would give a unique approach to addressing stress. So I'm going to ask a question in the poll here. Do you have a strategy for stress is what I'm going to ask. Okay, there you go. Hello. Hey, Chastity. Good to see you. Hello, hello. Happy birthday. Just waiting for everybody to join on here. Sleek Hobbies, thank you. My biggest hobby right now is silent meditation with tea. Hello, Mick. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Oliver. Ra. Hello, India is in the house. It's late there. Shouldn't you be sleeping? So today we're going to be talking about a different way to handle stressful situations. And the reason why this came up is because I'm noticing the energy feels very erratic. And I know a lot of people don't read energy, but everybody feels something, right? And things just feel a little bit unsettled, at least from my perspective. And there's a lot of change. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. So today we're going to be talking about a unique perspective that I have used. It's a new one that I have used to address stress. And it really does change how you perceive pretty much everything. And you know, as you perceive, so is your reality. So you are the director of your reality. And that is why it's important to know that how you're perceiving things, these things can change. So we'll just wait a few more moments here and we'll wait about 5 minutes, so 2 more minutes, and then we'll get started with the content today. It'll probably be a short video, but we'll see. We'll see how you all address stress, and do you have a process for addressing stress? That doesn't mean that you like your process, but you should know, does your process work? And if it doesn't, then maybe you need to adjust it, because we are the ones who adjust our perception. Nobody else can do it. You can't go to an outside person to get an adjustment on your perspective. Only you can do that. You are the chooser of how you are perceiving. So I always say, keep looking until you find a different perspective. And then work with people that'll help you see something different. That's always good too. Let's see. It's very sunny today. I was in my usual spot is filled with the sun. All right, so how are you all doing on this Monday? Let's see. South African boy, I have posted something that I saw for you. Hopefully you got that and that was helpful. Okay, so today we're talking about stress. Well, who doesn't have a stress in their life? Life is stressful sometimes, and it can be quite humbling depending on how you are perceiving whatever it is that you are experiencing, right? So our experiences, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, those all can be quite stressful and difficult to manage. And I wanted to share one life hack that I think anybody can use. Hey, Elliot, good to see you. Good to see you. You're always so nice. So here is the hack. It's short and simple. So first of all, your perspective is your choice. So if you don't like how you're perceiving what it is you're experiencing, then you have choices. And I always say, like, you must make conscious choices as often as you possibly can. And sometimes people just forget that they have an option to make choices. So what I have been doing lately, and I think it's been a fun exercise, is I have been seeing absolutely everything that has been sent my way, and I'm looking at as a messenger, because how I look at things is my choice, right? And I just look at everything as love. When I see confusion in emails, I see it as love. My choice. And even though I may be like, how could they even think like that? How could they write that message? How could they write that text? How could they be operating in such a confused state? I'm just choosing to see it as a blessing, as love, as an aspect of God, source energy, creator, showing me just a different option. And I get to choose how I'm seeing it. So even though what I'm seeing might not be what I prefer, I get to choose how I interpret what it is I'm experiencing and seeing. And this is a challenging thing to do, because that means you have to be aware of your thoughts. You have to be aware of your perceptions. You have to increase awareness so you can have more choices. And it seems really silly, but it works. It works. And a couple weeks ago, I was going through a situation, and it was extremely emotionally disturbing, very stressful. It wasn't at all what I preferred. And I just decided that entire day I was going to see everything as love. Everything was derived from love. And then I could just giggle at the silliness of how love expresses. And it works. It really works. And it seems totally different to do that, because most people just go in that spiral down, right? And I was able to stay calm, cooled, and collected. My nervous system didn't get overactivated. I was able to stay in my center, which is what the challenge is, right? You want to be able to stay centered. And sometimes when we have stressful situations, it is difficult to remember that we have choices. And so put a reminder on your phone, make a reminder list to always see things from love. You're arguing with your spouse? It's a love. It's a message of love. Everything is for you to realign to love, to expand in love, to grow in love, to be in love. And I heard somebody talk about this the other day, and I thought that was really interesting. Like, when we see things from the space of creation, and we are creators, we are co-creators with source energy, creation, and God, whatever word works best for you, as we are choosing to see these things, miracles occur for us. First of all, laughing instead of crying at stress is easier. And sometimes you can cry and laugh at the same time. That's actually one of my favorite things to do, is laugh until I cry. But not everybody is comfortable with crying. Not everybody is comfortable with laughing. And I'm not saying laughing at at the silliness of how stressed we make ourselves by the perceptions that we have. And yesterday was the anniversary. It was my mother's birthday. My mother has passed away. And I described in yesterday's live all the different ways and all the different synchronicities of my celebration of my mother that happened. And when we are present and disconnected from social media, disconnected from our emails, disconnected from like the chaoticness of life, and we're just present, we really can see the synchronicities and also, I'm going to say, the love that exists in all things. And that's really a conscious choice to see that, because the alternative that's being pushed on people is really heavy and it's very dense. And sometimes when we are in that space, it's really difficult to remember that you are a creator, a conscious creator of your experience. Now, for people who are, let's just say, in the throes of the dark night of the soul, and that is really prevalent within humanity, and we see it here in the chats almost every day, that people are dealing with some real chaotic stuff, whether they're being stalked or whether they want a partner and they don't have one. You know, people are just disappointed with the way that their life has evolved. And that is a choice as well. Now, the stability in which we create will be different when we're connected to our heart. And so when we are connected to our heart and we actually see that we are here to love, so why not just love everything? Everything. And see how that feels different within your body. Muhammad is saying, I'm very depressed. Muhammad, start seeing your depression as an invitation to dive deeper into love. And I know that seems crazy, but just try it. Try to experiment with your perceptions differently, because your identity is not aligned with some diagnosis or some thought that you have. So don't make it that. You get to really experiment with your perceptions. And I think there is a lot of people who are under a lot of medication. And I would say, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I do what's called energy psychology. And you have to use your own best judgment. But you must be able to manage yourself. Nobody else is going to be able to manage you. And we all know that there is something that is going on that is nefarious within our world. And we are the ones that have to change how we're seeing and walking through our life. Nobody can do it for us. No doctor, no pastor, no therapist. You are the one who needs to make the decisions. So let's just say you don't trust yourself with the decisions that you're making. We already know that our thoughts can be quite illogical. So you get to choose what process you're going to move forward with. So I put a question here in the chat, in the poll here, about we have 56, do you have a strategy for addressing stress? And I think the strategy needs to be one that works. And if you don't have a strategy, we need to create one. And I say, why not see it from love? Why not see your experience as completely derived from love? Yes, it might be hard, but we were brought here to do hard things. This life, nobody said it was going to be easy, but how we do it is our choice. So, I told you it was going to be short today, so let me see what questions do you have here? South African boys, I'm curious for you because you've been under a lot of stress and how you're remembering. So I'm curious how you have tried and if you have tried this tactic before. Sleek Holmes is saying, Hobbies is saying, my reality is up. Facts. You're amazing. Well, Sleek Hobbies. Hey, Shane, good to see you. There's that flower. I love it. Thank you so much, Shane. You're so sweet. Pakistan, hello. There are almost 2,000 students in India committing suicide due to entrance exams. Oh my goodness. I hate these statistics. Suicide is not the answer, and neither is a degree, right? So we have to really address what we are focusing on. And suicide is being too much in your head and thinking that that is actually an option. It's not. It's not an option. And death and dying is also a perspective that a lot of people have not really challenged. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? Elliot, good to see you. Okay. My life, well, we all have stress, but we need ways to address the stress. So, South African boys, what is the strategy? Let's see, how many of you have strategy? 76% have strategies in here. That's good. So the ones that don't have a strategy, you need a strategy. There should be things that help you disconnect from your thinking mind and help you reconnect to your heart, but also change how you're seeing what you're seeing. And I've told you this story before, but I've had people call me crying, angry, full of discord. And really, when you are able to just take a moment, consciously breathe, you will not feel the same way. It's only when your mind is not disciplined to go back into love that we become extremely stressed out. Now, I do the best I can myself. We all have stress that occurs in our life. It's not about changing the situation. It's about changing how you're seeing and perceiving the situation and knowing that everything is an opportunity to learn, grow, and expand in love and expand in your connection to love in alignment with the natural laws. So being kind, being compassionate, taking full responsibility is step one, right? Personal responsibility. So just checking to see, thank you for seeing, experience your live is amazing. Thank you, Sleek Hobbies. All right. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. Oh, no. Your hamster passed away. I'm so sorry to hear that. Kevin. Our animals are important. It's noon here in California. Sleek Hobbies is saying, I find true connection watching you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Everything is about realigning how you're perceiving things. And that can be a challenge to help yourself realign. So you want to have a strategy and check your strategy. Is it working? Is your nervous system activated? Are you aligned with your heart? Have a check marks for days that prepare for stress as if you know it's going to happen, because there's going to be things that happen. So have a checklist. Am I balanced in my nervous system? Am I connected to my heart? Am I breathing consciously? Am I seeing this as a gift from God of love? That right there makes me giggle, because the insanity of your thoughts, the irrational way of your thinking could be just so overwhelming. But when you see it yourself, it's much better than having somebody saying, you're crazy. Why are you thinking like that? Okay, let's see. Muhammad, I don't have any job. I'm sorry, Muhammad. I don't have a job for you. Nate is saying Jesus is the path to true love. And I would say Christ consciousness absolutely is alive and well. And when you connect to the consciousness of Christ, you will see life very differently. Sleek Homes. My name is Nick. I'm a business owner and I need to find a happy, awesome friend. Don't we all want a happy, awesome friend? Let me know when you find them. They're out there. I want one too. Everything you're talking about is answered with and by, and Nate says Jesus and I say Christ consciousness. So we have a difference there, but I don't think it's really that much of a difference. It's just that most people who are talking about Jesus are talking about Christianity and a religion, and I'm talking about consciousness. Okay, just looking for Chastity. And how does one know what love truly is? I love it. It's who we are. Chastity, it's who we are. How do we know? When we know who we are, when we realize that what we thought things were is wrong. And then we realized that it was only just love. Now, me in particular, I have had many instances where I didn't know what love is. I thought love was a word. I thought love was something you have with your family. I thought love was finding a boyfriend or a husband. That's not love. Love is really when you know who you are and when you honor yourself. I have felt that love is really light and not stressful, which is why I'm offering it as a hack. I certainly have my moments where I go into my head and I have to bring myself back into my heart. But I think that's a great question, Chastity. How do you know what love truly is, Chastity? I really think that on my path, my spiritual journey, I really have noticed that my relationship with my direct relationship with God, because I've gone all different rounds, and building that direct relationship with God and building that trust and seeing the mystery of life has brought me really to the frequency of love and not to the words of love. And I have found that love is really about a frequency in which we connect to within our heart. That's my experience anyways. Zach is saying, being gay in Croatia, it's hard to handle, but you just keep going. Zach, your sexual orientation is not hard. It's finding people to accept us that can be challenging. But it's not about other people accepting us as much as us accepting ourselves. Addressing those patterns of incongruencies of where we have not had love for ourselves and where we have not accepted ourselves. And that's a constant path. Mick is saying, before I left, I don't know why I chose this experience. If it was me to choose before coming here, right? Like, I wonder about this thing called life, that people think that we are actually coming here to have a real experience of life, right? And it's not an easy experience. It's about evolving, I think, faster for the soul. I think the life experience here, and I'm not a know-it-all or by any means, but I do think we are here to learn and grow. And it just so happens that learning and growth is one thing that I value tremendously. So that helps that perspective, right? So you get to choose your values. You get to choose how you're learning and growing. And I think sometimes we forget that we have choice in that. We don't always have a choice at all about how other people are or how do they behave or how they've betrayed us. But sometimes we have a lot of lessons about betrayal. I know I did. Hopefully I've overcome them. Hopefully, because they're tough. They're tough lessons. Thank you, Oliver, for helping in the chats here. Muhammad says the very first thing is death is no solution for our problem. No solution. That is a no solution at all. An exam is no reason to not be present in this thing called life. It might be just a real strong indication that you're on the wrong path. And how do you readjust? Sleek Hobbies is saying, truly appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, it's like a tornado's touchdown. Chastity Ann says, remove the labels and see with new eyes. I love that. Yes, see with new eyes. And what I tried, and it works for me, is to see with the eyes of love. And that's a new way of doing things, right? For most people, they don't see that way. They see how they think. And that's not usually very fun. Rakesh, burnout. I don't know what you're saying there, Rakesh, about burnout. Jen is saying, it's about you have someone or not. If a person is solo, he's more destroying himself. Well, we're all in this. We're all in this thing of life by ourselves. Like, you are the one that's choosing. But we're not really by ourselves. It's just this crazy earth experience where we're finding our way back to creation as co-creators. One can reduce their stress if they can step into an I don't care mode. Well, there is, Robin, I would say there is a degree of relinquishing control, right? Which is just of the mind, because we don't really have control anyways, because things are happening, and the only thing that we can do is constantly work with ourselves and how we are perceiving. So I don't disagree with the I don't care, because it's not about not caring, it's about not being attached to a certain way of looking at things. As Chastity said, with labels, right? We tend to label situations as bad or good or depressed or whatever, but it's really not about labeling them. It's really about choosing to see with new eyes, as Chastity said, and really, and I'm saying the choice is really love. Can you just choose to experience love through what you're perceiving? And Robin is saying, don't stress, it will not change the world. It's correct. We have a choice. We have a choice. Chastity Ann says, I hear a song in my heart and I dance with a vibration. Beautiful. Love is all we are. Love is all around us, and we have forgotten that. We have indeed. That's why I thought this life hack would be really helpful, because when you see emails and text messages and incongruencies, even though you might think they're crazy, and they might be, but the other option is also to see them in love, and to see the crazy as an expression of love really takes the sting out of it. At least that's what I've found. That's beautiful. And how do we remember who we are when love is all we are, Chastity? I wish I knew how to make this live so you can come on here too. How do we remember? By going into our hearts is what I think. By choosing, by consciously choosing. And I think people forget that they have choices. And they think that what they're experiencing or what they're seeing is what it is. And I've told this story before about me and an ex-boyfriend many, many years before my husband. And he did something that I thought was absolutely ludicrous. And it was me who was responsible for how I was seeing him as doing something what I would say was not kind. But I had the choice in how I perceived it, and that changed how I interacted with him. And I decided to choose the way I wanted to see what he did differently, as a gift. And that was my choice. He didn't make, he's doing him. And I just get to experience me through that experience. And I had to stay up all night until I can find a perception that I could really buy into. That made sense. But I stayed up all night and I didn't sleep until I found a perspective that worked. Now, if I had the hack of, can you just see he's expressing love in a different way than what you would? Can you just see that that's just love? It would have been easier, but I wasn't there. I didn't have anybody helping me at that time. I didn't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. I was just teaching myself, as you are. You are your own healer. Okay, Sleek Hobbies, thanks for being here. David is saying, when I was young in the 1980s, I learned the Cold War. Hope like my dad helped me build any project I dreamed up. Today I battle homelessness, even though my projects are glorious and realistic. David, I'm so sorry to hear that, but look at this society doesn't necessarily value projects that come, and sometimes these projects are born before their time. And I know I have created things that did not take off like I had hoped either. But it's really important that we stay connected to that creativity and stay tethered to the goal and continue to look at, how do I need to adjust? How can I see this from love? How would I respond to this in love? How can I receive this in love? Zach says, you are on ketamine when you detach from reality to view through this love lens. I don't know. I've never tried ketamine. I've never heard anybody explaining ketamine like you just described. But neutrality is something that you can experience when you're fully connected to God consciousness. And you can connect to God consciousness within you. Mick is saying, Ireland has the highest suicide rate in men 24 to 40 years old in Europe. Wow, I did not know that, Mick. I've lost 4 friends to suicide in the past 3 years. Whoa. Makes me want to not live and give up the world. Needs a lot of love. Mick. Wow. I have not heard this, Mick, and I did not know. I'm so sorry. But it seems like you and South African boys have a lot in common. And it's just, not everybody is built for this time on the planet. And unfortunately, there's a lot of energies out there that are nefariously operating that allow people to think that, or that lead people to think that suicide is an option when it's not. And stress is different than, what you're talking about. Suicidal thoughts, that's beyond stress. That's like chaos. And so chaos, this channel is not about chaos, but it seems like, things are very erratic right now, for sure. And suicide is not the answer. And I really do think the more that people dive into their hearts and find their true connection with God and feel God, they will see more of their life as an expression, a unique expression of God. Hi, Zoya. Good to see you here. I was hoping to see you. I was going to do a video on fear of the unknown today when I thought of you, but then it got changed because I think that stress is such a topic that so many people are contending with. But so the unknown is part of what people get stressed about, but we only have the present moment. And when we're in the present moment, we can choose how we are choosing to perceive it. And when we're perceiving it from our heart, it's much easier to connect with love. knowing that it's a frequency. Sid is saying, lucky hubby. Thank you so much, Sid. Zoya. Stress does not lead to, stress leads to suicide? I don't think so. I would say instability, mental fracturing, that's more of, stress is something that's so interesting. I had no idea that when people understand stress, that they think it leads to suicide. That's new awareness for me. That is new. So I'm curious, if that's what you think leads, that makes it even more unmanageable. So how is stress being managed in connection with the truth of who you are, which is love? Thank you, Steve. Good to see you're back. Rakesh, can you tell me why some people go with life, but some struggle their whole life with compromise, reshifting, focusing, everything? Rakesh, I can't tell you why some people go with life and some people don't. We all have different soul journeys. That would be my first answer without knowing you or knowing the situation. But we all have a soul journey here. Every single person that you meet is on a soul journey. And we are at different stages, different levels, different ways in which we are contending with our own soul evolution. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that they have a soul evolution, and that challenges and moving through challenges and learning from challenges and learning from life and learning from what we might perceive as harshness or the darkest days and getting through it is how we have built resilience, and we continue to grow and expand in our connection with God. And that, I believe, is really what helps to reshift and focus so we can become renewed. I can't type in the comments, Yash. I don't post that much on Instagram, sorry. I do stories here and there, but I don't post a lot. I used to, but after COVID, I found that people are just inundated with so much stuff. My Instagram is Being in Sync. BEINGINSYNC. Hi, James. Good to see you here. So, it looks like a lot of people have strategies for stress, but the stress is always going to be in correlation with how you are perceiving. So part of your strategy should be addressing your perception, because that is what is magnifying or minimizing your level of stress. So if we want to decrease the amount of stress, we must shift our perception. Okay, Rakesh, thank you so much. Accept yourself and life and go with the flow and trust God. Beautiful. Accept yourself, love yourself, honor yourself, go with the flow and trust God. That's what I would add. Nobody, hello, good to see you. You're somebody here. You like my specs. Thank you. Mick says, I agree. Stay in the present helps a lot and close to God and your heart, because God is love, and I believe God lives in your heart, and we'll all be good. Yes, yes. Mick, I'm so sorry about your friends. You know, when we have so many losses in a short period of time, I have, in my experience, and I haven't had a lot of people die recently, but I did many years ago. And it was like bam, bam, bam. And each death can be a catalyst if you use it as that. And so for me, finding and honoring those who have passed and really living more fully has been what I do. James Hugh is saying, what is my purpose? Oh, that's a great question, James. So I come on here every day for the Being in Sync 3-6 video series. This is a video that I started at the beginning of the year, and it's just my little aspect to start to share about what the natural laws are, what being in sync is, what energy psychology is, how the alignment of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies help us align within and develop a deeper connection within so we can grow and expand through our soul journeys. And the reason why I started this video series is because I had actually gone in public places and just put up a sign to help people. And what I found is that I found number one, that I learned a lot. And I found number two, that people are still like being vulnerable in person was very hard for others. And I understand that. So I just thought this YouTube live thing might be an opportunity to help people learn that they are their own healer, and give people what I wish I knew when I was going through this process, and still am, of ascension and this process of learning and growing and developing with higher levels of consciousness. You know, back when I was on the spiritual journey, very few people talked about consciousness. And the ones that were talking about consciousness, there was something that felt off. And I knew religion wasn't for me. So this is for people who want to be in alignment, but know that church isn't their thing. And God and source energy and creator is real. And it's just a different way of approaching and living through life. Hopefully that helps, Daniel. Or James, I'm sorry. Daniel says, don't stress about the mess. Regress into peace and rest. Yes. Yes, I am married. Good morning. James says, you are also very attractive, which is a hindrance to some, but I think you handle that very well. Well, I'm going to take that as a compliment. You would be surprised at how many comments that come in here that says that I'm not attractive at all. So, you know, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. Again, James, we have choices in our perception. And I'd say you're right. Thanks, James. Good to see you here. Okay, y'all. Good explanation, YouTube. Yes, I did put an explanation of me and my services and what I do on YouTube. So please go see that. Rakesh is saying, vulnerable on person and hard on others. I have observed this today. Itself is my sister's behavior due to vulnerability of disrespect. I'm not really sure, Rakesh, what you're saying, but how can you see your sister just as an expression of the divine? That means that you have to disconnect with your thoughts of thinking she was disrespectful. And you get to hold your own boundaries about your personal perspective. Martin is saying, hi, Kiana, you tie your hair today. Thank you. Yes, I did. My husband said it looked good, so I was like, okay. James says, intelligence is most attractive. Well, intelligence is a perspective, right? Because there are some people, and I've told this story before, when I've worked with very, very smart people who went to MIT, who are engineers, who have been to the best of the best colleges, and they were not smart. They may have book smarts, but they were not intelligent as I value intelligence, which is intelligence from the heart, where we have emotional intelligence, we have mental intelligence, we have spiritual intelligence. We are filled with aspects that need to yet be discovered. My husband must be intelligent, indeed. Raj, I read everybody's comment, I thought. Raj, I skip those ones that ask that they want to marry me because those are ridiculous and silly. Hello, India. So here are my final thoughts on doctor is saying you are talking about intelligence in front of a doctor. Interesting. Well, I don't think that your labels make you smart or intelligent. How about that, doctor? But you could be one of the few doctors that has emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, heart intelligence. You might be one of the doctors. I just have not encountered a lot of them. I'm not saying this is you, so you don't need to take it personal. James says, wow, emotional intelligence. You keep blowing my mind. It just depends on what kind of intelligence you I know, Mick. I was wondering that too. But oftentimes, people who have labels of higher, I would say doctors, lawyers, they're conditioned and taught to lead with their label of this education. It's like a stamp of approval. And I have a master's degree in leadership, and I would say I spend the vast majority of my time and my entire spiritual journey has been unlearning everything that I was taught in traditional education. So I think it's really important, although I don't dismiss that was part of my journey, I would not repeat the same things again. But, now he says he's joking. He's a doctor. But doctor, you have it on there. Rakesh says, what's traditional education? Traditional would be mainstream. It would be public, like public education. It could be a college, doctoral. It could be anything. Marjorie, I've only met one doctor that I would trust with my truck. That's one more than I have met. Marjorie. No mercy, leadership, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Beautiful. Mick, school, college. So I want to go back to this idea about having the direct influence over how you're perceiving your life. Even if you have feelings that you don't want to feel, not wanting to feel your feelings is a thought. Feeling your feelings is a conscious action. So I would encourage people to feel their feelings and walk through them and not avoid feeling. And most of the time, people don't like what they're feeling, but it's not about liking it. It's about feeling. And yesterday I had the really profound experience of, honoring my mother, and I was tearful, I was laughing, I was wondrous, I was curious, and I was grateful. More than anything, I was so grateful for the opportunities and the learning of which I learned from that relationship of my mother. Now, was she in the physical form the same as I think of her in the spiritual form? No. I would say loving your mother, loving your parents is far different in the spiritual aspect than it is in the physical. Because when people are in the physical, we could get so stuck into the personality aspects that are often prescriptive and archetypes that have been conditioned or programmed, and we don't question them. And we don't even question our beliefs. So I question my beliefs. I encourage you to question your beliefs as well. Dr. Andre says, I'm a doctor. Are you bashing all doctors? No, we're just speaking from our experience. And Dr. Andre, I don't know what kind of doctor you are. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I do what's called energy psychology, the alignment of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies through this thing called energy psychology, which is realigning our patterns, okay? No Mercy says, this lady is very well spoken and deserves a sub and a like. Oh, thanks. But no, we're not mashing anything. You can be the exception to the rule, doctor. And there are needs for doctors. I am not one. And people who need a doctor should not be coming on YouTube live streams asking for life advice. This is simply an avenue to get a different perspective on how to approach things and look at things and learn and grow and expand, which all of our life is here to learn, grow, and expand. James says, are you ever attracted to other people? And if so, how do you handle it? Oh, I think other people can be attractive, sure. There's nothing to handle. Everybody can be an aspect of creation and love. And so when you see people that way, it's easier to love them. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Ayush is a working doctor now. You have a tough job. There's no doubt you have a tough job working in a system, and that system has many flaws and dysfunctions. I personally think it's very challenging to try and correct a system from the inside. That's just my perspective as a change agent for many organizations in the past. And hey, Mick is saying, I'm glad that you celebrate your mother in that way, that honored your relationship. Yeah, and I think we need to honor all of the relationships. You know, I even pray for the people that have betrayed me. And that was a conscious effort. And, you know, I did a whole series on here, Are You Bullied by Your Family? And that was my first entry really onto YouTube here. And I just wanted people to know that they weren't alone. And because in my journey being different, I often felt alone and didn't know who I could talk to or people that would understand. And then I realized it didn't even matter. I didn't need people to understand my situation. I just wanted to share how I moved through it. And oftentimes when I look back on my childhood, I didn't really want to see what it was until I was more evolved. And then I could be more honest with myself about the truth. And the truth is that I can love my brother and my sister and we could still not get along. I could see them as love and still not have anything in common with them. And my husband has the opposite. He gets along with his family. They actually like each other. That's new for me. I didn't experience my family really liking me. It's a good thing I didn't need them to like me to grow and evolve. But that's my learning, right? And I've never needed people to like me. I would like them to like me, but I've never been attached to people liking me. It's never been a need. That's not a need to grow. It's not a need to evolve, you know, and what is their perception but their ideas about me? They're often very inaccurate. When you are a telepath, you pick up on people's thoughts, you realize people think irrational thoughts all the time. And now there's this other component that most people are not aware of, is that there's this AI, there's inorganic thoughts. So not all thoughts are yours. And so you must be able to have discernment. John says, what's your graduation? I graduated with a master. You can look on here on YouTube. I have a master's degree in leadership and organizational conflict. I focus primarily on helping teams is where I focus, but now I work one-on-one and with couples, and I do all kinds of things from this perspective of energy psychology, because I find it's actually much better than what I was doing 20 years ago. The impacts are far greater working energetically than it was doing what I was doing before. James says, I'm attracted to an intelligent people. Well, that's a preference. But what if you just saw everybody as a divine intelligence and they're just there to show you more about who you are, James? What if that? Oh, I did. Thank you. I worry about saying people's names wrong on here. They're so different. Rakesh is saying, yes, 100% the system is designed to serve the system, not to modify it. Very, very well stated there, Rakesh. The system is based on dysfunction often for a reason, because it serves the dysfunction within the system. You are 100% right. Now I might say it wrong. Ayush. I don't know if I should ask this or not, but 2 years back, I was in hard love with someone and they broke my trust and loyalty. And yes, I don't feel anything special for anyone now. What to do? Heartbreak is hard, right? There is a reason why when people get divorced, I've heard psychics describe it as like a scar on the heart. Betrayal of trust. I always say trust yourself over others, because yourself will always inform when to give more trust to others. But really trust is a frequency in which you align within. So oftentimes we tend to trust those outside of ourselves, but that often hurts. And so that hurt is a learning of the heart, and the learning of the heart is not easy, but necessary to expand the heart frequency, because that's where healing happens. I'm sorry that that experience was so painful, but there's a lot of people in the chat that always talk about their pain, and our pain can be a source and a signal of where we need to grow. We have to be willing to grow. Abundance in everything. Do you give help to a Christian? I love your work, but I'm a believer, but I love your work. Thank you very much. I've had many Christian clients, yes. Christian clients, Catholic clients. You know, I don't follow a religion. I follow God consciousness. I follow the expansion of consciousness, and I work with people who are believers in other religions. My work does not tread on anything that goes against religion. It may be a different perspective than what you may have been taught to believe, but I think our beliefs are part of what keeps us in stress and pain, is that we have not challenged what we believe. And I think one of the things that causes a lot of pain is when what we believe, and I think the doctor here was just saying that, Ayush was saying that she believed something and then found it wasn't true. And that belief of believing something that is not true can cause a great amount of pain and discord. And so we must be willing to understand that Christ consciousness is a frequency in which we tap into. Yes, you could read books. Yes, you could read the Bible, but the consciousness in and of itself is an expansion in your frequency field, and it does change the patterns. Mick is saying, forgiving people who felt wronged in your life is like removing a weight off of you. Yeah. Well, forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, right? And really, a lot of us, and I'll just use myself as an example, when I had somebody that betrayed me deeply, a confidant, a friend, a colleague, and I wasn't mad at them as much as I was mad. I knew, and I didn't follow my knowing. So this is the lesson. to learn to listen to that little voice within, because that voice is going to guide you on the path to your heart. Hi, Ramesh. I see you here. Thank you. Okay, Ramesh is working on his degree. I cannot see two eyes, but I'm sending this message through technology. Okay. How can I post a comment if I don't have real eyes? If there's someone named Ramesh blind, check the videos. Okay, Ramesh. Ayush is saying it wasn't a divorce, but I was in a relationship with a girl. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's a divorce or a breakup. You know, when we put and there needs to be a level of trust in a relationship, right? But this is why it's so important to listen within. My advice is this, Ayush. Learn your lessons. What are your lessons that you needed to learn from that relationship? It wasn't just about trust. There's going to be many lessons. Any significant heartbreak, any significant challenge, any significant disruption is going to have learning. Get all the learning from the relationship. The one betrayal that I was talking about, I think I had like 56 lessons that I needed to learn, something like that. It was a lot. It was a profound soul experience that I was learning from that relationship. And it was a friend, it was a colleague, it was something that, you know, to a lot of people would seem insignificant, but this situation caused a lot of distress, so much distress that I'm like, I am going to go get all the learning from that situation, because when you take situations that are stressful and you turn it into a learning, it doesn't sting as much, because now you're growing. When you're growing, you can expand. When you're stuck in the pain, it's difficult to expand. That's why you got to take that signal and use it to your advantage. That's what I do anyways. Abundance for everything. Thank you so much. I am grateful. Pauline is my name. Thank you, Pauline. Yes, Christ consciousness. That's what we want to align with and for. Mick is saying, I've made some mistakes myself in the past with people and I knew better. Yeah, we know. We always know. And when we don't know, we learn. And when we learn, we're like, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. But we need to use that pain to consciously choose to put into conscious action. Yeah. All right, y'all, I've been on here for just over an hour. My name is Kiana Sage from Being in Sync. This is the Being in Sync 366 video series. Today's topic was about choosing to look at life's situations through the eyes of love. Through love, to see the experiences as love, as a teaching, so you may expand in greater love. I hope you have a great day. Good to see you here, Mick. Oh, you know who we didn't see is Eric. Hopefully he sees this. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Thank you all for your time, your consideration, your participation. I am seeing you all through the eyes of love, and I thank you for helping to share this message with others who might need to see it. You know, it's a unique challenge to see things differently. So experiment. Let's see what you guys have to say tomorrow. Experiment today in seeing everything through the eyes of love. Okay, have a great day. Love you. Bye.